There was one very, very clear theme that ran not only throughout the Brexit referendum back in 2016, but the continuing theme throughout the past 4.5 years is that the Brexiteers are absolutely desperate to do a trade deal with America. Why are they desperate to do a trade deal with America? Well, because it leads to further deregulation of our market through backdoor means, because they can do a trade deal, and well, sod British businesses, right? Remember, this is meant to be the party of British business, and as we've said before, this, the current Tory party especially, hasn't been about British businesses, especially over the last decade. They've done absolutely nothing for them. So my appeal to you is, if you are a Conservative Party donor and you are a British businessman, maybe you should go and give your money to another political party, because certainly the Conservatives have no and none of your interests at heart. So this is also, and it was also framed as like the corner block of Brexit. The fact that if we got this deal with America, even though it adds like 0.2% to our GDP, which is nothing, again, in the grand game of schemes and countries, to you or me, that's a heck of a lot of money. But when it comes to countries, like 0.2% is nothing. It's nothing. And we just does not go anywhere near the level to try and actually replace what we lose from leaving the European Union. They're always going to be our most top priority trading partner. That doesn't change. And it makes no sense for us to be on the outside of that economic bloc. But, we continue that argument, and it will just come to show just how important us actually being there is. And of course, it is very, very likely that Joe Biden is going to win in the November election, and this is going to cause even more headaches for the Brexiteers, because they have been hoping that America would somehow, as we said, swan in and save them. Because, as we said, it was a cornerstone of Brexit. This was the thing. When they talked about trade deals, they talked about the American trade deal all the time. And that being like, oh my God, we've got a deal with the US. Oh my God. Oh. And, it would send shivers down the spine. You could see them on TV going, oh, a trade deal with America, every single time. But it's looking likely that if Biden does get in, he ain't going to come to their rescue. So this comes from The Independent. And the title is The End of the Special Relationship. Joe Biden could be very bad news for Boris Johnson's Britain. So, be careful what you wish for. The defeat of Donald Trump and his replacement by Joe Biden might well be a triumph for the human decency. Good for America and for the world. But would it be great in purely selfish terms for British interests? It's not obvious that Joe Biden is Joe Biden is going to do Britain, or more accurately, Boris Johnson's Britain. Any great favours, at least any great favours for a start, or as a loyal member of the Obama White House, and one who enjoyed a close and personal relationship with the former president. Biden may recall a particularly offensive remark that Johnson made about Obama back in 2016. Just as the Brexit bandwagon was rolling, Barack Obama was in London to see David Cameron. The then Conservatives Remain Prime Minister, don't forget. And to dispatch a little advice to an old ally about Brexit. The President offered the view that the UK would be at the back of the queue for any trade deal with the US. And it wounded the Brexiteers, and it got them up a bit. Though it seems that they have had some sort of grain of truth in the light of recent experience. Johnson was Mayor of London at the time, and in a completely spiteful mood, and used his great authority to write a column in The Sun. He seized on a half-true story about Obama sending a bust of Winston Churchill that was in the Bush Oval Office back to the British Embassy. Laced with innuendo, it could scarcely have been more cringingly offensive. No one was sure the president had himself been involved in the decision, wrote Johnson. Some said that it was a snub to Britain. Some said it was a symbol of his part Kenyan president's ancestral dislike for the British Empire, of which Churchill had been such a fervent defender. Well, some say, Johnson was a fool to write that at the time. With hindsight, it will do him no favours with the President Biden, whose ancestry contains plenty of Irish, by the way. And some also say the truth is that the bust was removed to outside the treaty room, another prominent location where it was seen by the president every day, and Obama felt that a bust of Martin Luther King was far more appropriate. Oh, hang on. There, just wetting my whistle. Johnson and his cabinet had better hope that if he wins, Biden has a senior moment and forgets about Johnson's cowardly little column where they first had their meeting. Unfortunately for Britain, there will be a lot of ex-Obama staffers running the administration who will happily remind President Biden about the British Premier. Ben Rhodes, for example, ex-Deputy National Security Advisor, who recently quote-tweeted a UK newspaper headline saying, "Panicking number 10 dumps Trump and woos Biden," adding, "I'm old enough to remember when Boris Johnson said Obama opposed Brexit because he was Kenyan. As for Obama himself, according to Rhodes, he thinks Johnson is just Trump with better hair." Biden probably doesn't like Johnson. He certainly doesn't like Brexit, and doesn't think that it's been good for Britain, Europe or America, and said in 2018 that he'd have voted for Remain as an MP or a voter. He shares the Obama view on Johnson, and with so much else, moreover, Biden shares the general Democrat revulsion at what Brexit. Oh, hang on. Oh, there we go. Sorry, just ignoring adverts. He shares the Obama view on Johnson as well as so much else. Moreover, Biden shares the general Democratic revulsion at what Brexit is doing to the Good Friday Agreement and the Irish peace process. Nancy Pelosi and many others have warned Britain that they can do anything, but they'd rather not tread on their green suede shoes if they want any kind of trade deal. The animosity might even further inflict the traditional close relationship on intelligence and security, simply because the Biden-Johnson chemistry would be so poor. This would be a shame, as Johnson is closer now to Biden on the challenge from Russia than he is to Trump, as well as a better allied with America on China. The work at the Oval Office level will probably be okay, but Biden will be less interested in what Britain thinks and wants strategically. Having said, it would be diminished in influence outside the EU. The relationship will be inevitably less special. Of course, such things can be exaggerated. Rarely do British leaders exert much leverage in Washington anyway. The special relationship obsesses London, and most Americans have never even heard of it. And relations with Canada, Mexico, Israel, and Saudi Arabia and the EU matter much more, if not more. Churchill and FDR, Macmillan and Kennedy, Thatcher and Reagan, Blair and Clinton, and maybe Bush, they're all exceptions to the general indifference. Obama was in fact more businessmanlike, and not much more both the Social Democrat Gordon Brown and Tony Cameron and the Tory Cameron. And there was no Trump trade deal, despite all the talk from the cheerleaders such as Nigel Farage and despite the lavish hospitality the Queen uncorked during the not quite state visit. It's take it or leave it based offer on chlorinated chicken, GM crops, and access to the NHS contracts. Simple as that. Whoever happens to be president. Trump was an aggressive America First protectionist who would have only given the UK a sweetheart deal in some maverick moment of madness, which was possible, but wouldn't have made it through Congress. Biden is much more the globalist, but won't reverse Trump's new NAFTA replacement. He's also going to put America first. NATO will be safer under Biden, and the Iran nuclear deal and the Paris Climate Treaty will also be resurrected, which will be good for Britain too. Overall, the prospects of America coming to Britain's rescue after COVID and Brexit was always slim, but they are about to get even slimmer. And I just completely agree there. The Brexiteers were so adamant, especially at the referendum and even now, that America was coming to save us, that they were somehow, this anchor would magically be lifted, off the sea floor, and Britain would just somehow just drift over to off the coast of the US. That's not going to happen, yet they seem to think that's what's going to happen. It's bizarre when you hear them talk about like the deal. Like I said, when you see them on television, they got spingles, they got tingles down the spine. It was just unbelievable. But there you go. It's yeah. But we did tell you, and even if we do get a deal, it's not going to be worth anything to us. It's not going to replace what we lose from being, an EU member. And if you think those views from Biden are, just cornered to America, they're not. Those are generally the views from around the world, and all the countries just looking on. Okay, you've done Brexit, but we don't really understand why. It doesn't make sense. We go back to when we went through the Japan Times, and the Japan trade experts saying, well, okay, you've done Brexit, but doing a trade deal with us is not going to be worth anything. You're much more being, worth being in the EU single market. So those views are pretty much shared around the world. And I can guarantee you, if America is not going to come and rescue Britain after Brexit and COVID, pretty much no other country out there is going to come to our rescue either. So, thank you for watching. Please do hit that like and share button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and one-off donation links, should you like to support the channel that way. And thank you very much to all the people that do so. Your support is very, very much appreciated. And with that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.